All right, Ms. Deeply, we're going to ask you if you'll be kind enough, Ms. Hubbell, if you'll come back to the witness stand. All right.
Ms. Hubbell, I'm passing you another Facebook post to review. Is this a Facebook post posted by Lydia A. Hubbell?
Yes, it is.
Do you deny that you made this Facebook post?
No.
And was this posted on September 13th?
Yes.
And based upon the context of this post and the date that it was screenshotted, what year do you believe that it was posted?
2016.
Okay. Do you see in this where you said, well, my child's father just had my SSDI benefits that go to my daughter, and I was representative payee, changed from me to him?
Yes, I see that.
And which child has the SSDI benefits that you were representative payee?
Two of my children.
Okay.
Noah Hubbell and Delara.
Okay. And which one were you referencing in this post?
I was referencing Delara's dad.
And she is your only daughter that receives those benefits, is that correct?
As of that day, yes. My older daughter did receive them as well.
Okay. Do you see later in the post, paragraph 5, where you say, my point is he should be ashamed of what he's doing. Not only is he stealing from my child, he is stealing from my friends and family who will be filling in this gap.
I see that.
And in paragraph 6, do you go on to say, as a matter of fact, maybe these friends and family who are going to be filling in the gap should contact my child's father and confront him about what he is doing and let him know he is wrong.
I see that.
So in this post, you are encouraging friends and family to contact Mr. Gadare. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then in the next paragraph, you say, yes, for someone who hates to be confronted, that might be a good idea. Maybe it would be helpful for people to, at rush hour, morning and evening, make signs and posters with his name and address on it and stand sentinel outside the subdivision in the public right-of-way so his neighbors will know what he is doing. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you say his neighbors have a child abuser and a thief in their neighborhood, and they have a responsibility to hold him accountable. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then, yes, that is a good idea, and not only my friends, but everyone in the judicial accountability movement should laser focus on this man. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is the judicial accountability movement?
The judicial accountability movement is a group of people who are concerned about corruption in the legal system and lawyers and judges not following the rules.
Counsel, I don't really care. I mean, I don't know what the judicial accountability movement is.
My next question is if she's encouraging this whole group of people to contact him, Your Honor.
Well, then let's ask how many people are in this movement if she knows.
Do you know how many people are in this movement?
I have no idea.
Would you estimate that it's over 20?
It's over tens of thousands, from what I understand.
And are you encouraging this group to contact Mr. Gadare?
Let me see what I say. I wasn't referring to everyone in the whole world who's concerned about judicial accountability. I was referring to people who are local, who are in our community.
Doesn't it say that you're encouraging not only your friends, but everyone in the judicial accountability movement to laser focus on this man?
Yes, and I just clarified, I was talking about the community.
I'm asking about what you posted on social media. Isn't that what you posted on social media?
That's what the words are.
Okay. And then in the next paragraph, do you see where you said, this unscrupulous father and lawyer team need a wake-up call?
Yes, I see that.
On the final page, in the last paragraph, do you see where you said, "I was told not to talk about him on social media"?
Counsel, let me interrupt you just a second. I guess I'm a little puzzled. You're asking to extend this for 5 years. It only requires one violation. I'm looking at the order of protection that was originally issued, and on 6/15/15, and then I'm looking at the order Has the order of protection been modified since the 6/15/15 order of protection?
The only modification, Your Honor, was that the child was removed from it on the modification, or on the 2016 renewal date.
All right. I'm not sure why we're continuing. You're adding things. I'm assuming you believe each one of these is a violation. Is that right?
I do, Your Honor. My concern is I assume there's going to be an appeal, and Mr. Kadir has already spent a good amount of money fighting and winning these appeals, but I just want to make sure there's enough on the record to show the Court of Appeals that there's more than enough for Your Honor to grant this extension of the order of protection.
Well, the last time the court dealt with this, the court found that she was continuing to harass him. One of the difficulties is the original order says she can't use his name on social media, but it does appear in the order where I extended it for an additional year that the court found that referring to this child's father was harassing. So that's really kind of what we're looking at. None of these list the father's name that I've seen.
The first two do, Your Honor.
Yeah, I do see his name in there. And then these others would probably be considered harassing. But how many more do you intend to introduce?
Well, this one is in the next paragraph where she's again encouraging people to contact him, which we would allege is even a different type of violation where she's asking other people to harass him.
And I don't necessarily disagree with that. I hadn't made a ruling on it yet, but how many more of these pages do we have to introduce?
I believe that is the last post of this sort, and then I have 3 other posts, I can only admit one, that are related to the fact that she's now started sidewalk talking about this and has actually gone to where he takes the child to play and has drawn in sidewalk talk all over the child's playground about how he's keeping her.
Well, let's get to this. I don't care about whatever this judicial movement is.
Okay.
Hand these in, go to it, we'll confirm the date. Let's try to move on with it.
Okay, I would move to admit this as Exhibit 7, Your Honor.
All right. Be marked as Exhibit 7, please.
Ms. Hubbell, isn't it true that you have encouraged others to take sidewalk chalk and write messages about your daughter's case and or Mr. Kadir all over the city?
I don't recall. I recall about my daughter. I don't recall telling anybody to say anything about her father.
Is it true that you have encouraged others to write messages about the custody case that's going on with your daughter all over the city?
Maybe not specifically, but I've got a hashtag Bring Delara Home, and I'm encouraging people to use that among other messages to be chalked on public sidewalks as a constitutionally protected exercise of free speech and expressing their opinions.
And isn't it true that you yourself have written in sidewalk chalk all over the city?
Yes, I have.
About your daughter and the custody case that you're involved in?
Beyond that, there are other cases I'm concerned about in Tennessee, and also just the general.
Have any of your sidewalk messages included information about your daughter and the custody case that you're involved in?
I have no idea.
The ones that you've written, you have no idea whether they included that information?
No.
You have no recollection what you have written in
You asked me how many. I don't know how many.
I didn't.
I have no idea how
said,
many.
have any...
Counsel, let me say, you've asked it, she's answered it, she's saying she has no recollection that she mentioned anything about her daughter.
Do you recall writing in sidewalk chalk on your daughter's playground?
My daughter doesn't have a playground that I know of.
Your testimony is that you have no idea of any playground that your daughter attends?
What you asked her daughter's playground.
Okay, I'll strike that question.
Her daughter doesn't own a playground.
Strike that question.
If there's one she attends regularly, you can ask that.
Are you aware of any playgrounds that your daughter goes to play at on a regular basis?
I know one she used to.
Okay. Have you taken sidewalk chalk and written messages on playgrounds where she used to play?
Your Honor, I object to this line of questioning. This has nothing to do with the order of
It does,
protection.
ma'am. It has to do with harassment. So answer the question, overrule the objection.
What was the question again?
Have you taken sidewalk chalk and written messages on or around playgrounds where you know your daughter used to play?
Yes, because I would like for her to know that I'm still trying to get back into her life.
And have those messages that you've posted included a hashtag Bring Delara Home?
Yes, I think I just said that. Bring Delara home.
Have they included the hashtag Free Delara Gadare?
Some of them have, yes.
Did you write the message, Delara Gadare, age 8.5, has been unlawfully cut off from her mother, Lydia A. Hubbell, for 2 years. Please help stop the judicial corruption. Court-ordered child abuse is against the people.
I recall writing something like that.
Are you aware of where Mr. Gadare resides?
Yes.
Have you also taken sidewalk chalk and written messages outside of his neighborhood?
Outside of his neighborhood, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
All right. I'll let you step down, Ms. Hubbell. Call your next witness, Ms. Deacon.
I have no further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hubbell, do you have any witnesses you want to put on? I beg your pardon? Let me get you come over there, please. I'll give you a chance to testify yourself. You want to call Mr. Gadare to the witness stand? Sir, come around, please. Come to the podium, if you will.
Would you state your name, please?
Sinan Gider?
And do you have a daughter?
Yes, I do.
And what is her name?
Dilara Gider?
Is it true that you came to this court in 2015 to get an order of protection while we were in the middle of a custody modification trial in juvenile court?
Yes, I came here to get an order of protection. Yes.
And didn't you ask for that order of protection after I had filed to have the custody and visitation order enforced because you were denying me court-ordered visitation?
Right. Ms. Hubbell, you can ask if he filed a request for an order of protection after you filed a petition to modify custody. Not going to get into what the basis of your petition was.
Well, Your Honor, it's there. I assume
Listen, you're going to either comply with my rulings. I'm giving you an opportunity to question this man, but in your effort to ask a question, you can't insert statements of fact. So listen to what I've said. If you want to ask him if you asked for an order of protection after you filed a petition to modify custody, I'll let you ask that. But if you say, when I filed a petition to modify custody because you were not letting me do this and that, that's an improper question. So you either have to ask the questions I'm suggesting the way the court's telling you to, or I won't let you continue to ask questions, so I'll let you go on.
Okay, I'm not well practiced in proper questioning procedure.
Well, that's why you need an attorney to assist you, but you're chosen to represent yourself, so you have to comply with the rules just like the lawyers do.
Well, I have no attorney because I can't afford
I'm not
it.
going to argue with you further, Ms. Hubbell. If you want to proceed, fine. If not, the hearing will be over. Go on, please.
Isn't it true that Delara attended a preschool?
Objection irrelevant.
Your Honor, this, if you're issuing orders...
Wait a second. What was the question again? I didn't quite hear your question.
I was asking about her attending preschool.
You want to know if she attends preschool?
If she did attend preschool. She's in school age now.
She did. She's in regular school now, is that right?
Yes, but...
Okay, but why is it relevant if she attended preschool in the past?
Because I feel that you've made a order that has caused it's court-ordered child abuse, and I think you need to have an opportunity to hear how my daughter's been affected by your order.
Let me stop you. We're not going back and retrying one of the court's prior rulings. That's what the Court of Appeals is about. If you think if I've either misunderstood the facts or misinterpreted the facts or have incorrectly applied the law, you have a right to appeal it to the Tennessee Court of Civil Appeals. But you don't get a do-over in this court related to another case.
No, but what my intention is to inform you as to why it would be against the cause of justice for you to extend this order of protection, and you need to hear the information.
You need to understand the basis. The only basis for me to extend it or to not extend it is whether or not there's been a violation of the order. It doesn't matter that you think the order of protection is not good for you or not good for your child, that you can always file petitions to modify custody. So the court certainly is happy to deal with any of those. If the court finds a material change of circumstance, the court may grant your request. But this is a really narrow thing. The question is, since we had the last order of protection extension, have you violated the order of protection? That's the whole substance of what we're doing. If the answer is yes, there's a basis to extend it. If the answer is no, there is no basis to extend it. That's what you need to concentrate on. We're not going to go back and retry why the order of protection was granted or anything. All right?
Are you interested in case law that would affect this?
I'll be happy to consider any case law that has to do with extending orders of protection. But I kind of understand what the case law is on orders of protection. We're not retrying your custody case in Hubbell.
But if there's case law on, if the basis of your extending the order of protection is based on restrictions on my speech that the court, which is the same request they made in juvenile court, and then they brought it here, and if the appeals court vacated the restrictions on my referring to him on social media, I think that's relevant.
A misclassification. The appeals court said that the limitations put down by the juvenile court were overbroad. That was related to a custody matter, not an order of protection, and it was those specific rulings, had nothing to do with the order of protection.
Well, let me say that probably I kind of feel like I have a good handle on the case law on this matter. Orders of protection are there to protect people from physical abuse, verbal abuse, harassment, stalking. So those are the things we look at. Sometimes, in the court's opinion, people's right to make statements are infringed on. You can't threaten to kill the President of the United States. Secret Service comes and knocks on your door, you can be arrested for it. So if the court put down an order that you're not to harass someone, as far as the court's concerned, it's not a freedom of speech issue. It's an issue as to whether or not you're harassing someone when the court told you not to. So you need to move on.
Well, also for just to have on record,
I'm not going to argue with Ms. Hubbell. You'll have a perfect right to take my ruling to the Court of Appeals. If I'm wrong,
I'm trying to make a record.
Well, you don't make a record by trying to re-argue a case. You make a record about what occurred in these set of circumstances. So please go on, or the hearing will be over.
Okay, Mr. Gader, isn't it true that you have had me arrested, asked for me to be arrested 3 times during the past 2 years?
Objection to relevance.
She included this in her petition, an old one. I think you should understand that can he look at this?
Ms. Hubbell,
he had me
I'm not sure
accused
what
of,
that is,
it's like,
please listen to me. I want you to have your day in court, and I know you're not an attorney, but what I'm trying to let you understand is the past orders of protection, the original granting of it, the extension, those are over with. You certainly could have appealed those. Maybe you have. Maybe there's appeals still pending. I don't know. And you certainly have a right to appeal this. But the only issue today is, have you violated the order of protection? So these are the issues. It doesn't matter if he's had you arrested in the past. I have nothing to do with criminal cases. I have nothing to do with those things. This is a civil matter. I've explained to you what the issue is to try to help you focus your questions. So I've told you it's just a question of whether or not you violated the order of protection. So if you'll please stick to that. If not, I'll have to take Mr. Gilder off the stand and the hearing will be over with. So please go.
Are you interested in knowing that I was arrested for violating the order of protection and I was found not guilty? That's irrelevant?
If you were found guilty of violating the order of protection since the last time we were here, they would have already introduced that. So I know you haven't been found guilty by a criminal court. Now, there's a little bit different standard under criminal court because we're dealing with a criminal matter where their constitutional rights have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. This court deals by the preponderance of evidence in a case. That means more than 50% of the evidence is in their favor, then they win. So we're dealing with 2 different standards. I don't care if he's had you arrested. I don't care that you were found not guilty.
Okay.
I congratulate you. We're just dealing with whether you have violated this order. A conviction would clearly indicate that, but they don't have to proceed on a conviction. They can come and put on facts today, and that's what we're dealing with. So go on, please.
Okay. I would like to refer to these exhibits.
Which exhibit do you want him to have?
I don't know if mine are numbered in the same way that,
there should be a date on them, Ms. Hubbell. If you properly number them, then you can at least tell us the date.
Okay.
Please tell us the date. We're going to have to move on.
Okay. How about this one that's got Dolores' picture on it? It's the date. It's September 13th. It's the one that's got Dolores' picture on it.
That's Exhibit 6, Your Honor, for reference.
Exhibit 6.
Exhibit 6. Okay. Do you see this at the top? You see where it says Amy there?
So I see what?
Amy? It says Amy?
Amy McNair up in the
Yes, I see it on the left.
Okay. And who is Amy?
Objection to relevance, Your Honor. It doesn't matter who it is. She's already admitted these are her folks and she posted them.
Well, my question is, how is it harassing him if somebody else is entering my closed accounts, which are supposed to be people who are supporting me in my efforts to get Delora back and fighting corruption in the legal system? Who is Amy? I don't understand why he's and this is a problem that came up in the trial.
The issue, ma'am, is that the testimony, as I understand it, is you've testified before the court. This is your post, and it was posted September 13th in 2016. So that's the issue. It may have gone through a dozen other people's, but this was put on the social media on or about the date that's listed here. So whether someone else shared it or sent it along isn't particularly important. The issue is, were you putting things on the social media? And if this is on there, based on your testimony, it sounds like you did, but I'll let you go on. But I sustain the objection as to this unknown party.
Well, my point is, how is it making him harassed when he doesn't even have access? He did not have access to this. So how is that making him feel harassed?
Well, it may be because you're not supposed to put posts on the social media where you mention him. So that may be the basis for it.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll have to see when we hear all the proof.
And I'm sorry, did you say you were not interested in this recent Court of Appeals regarding the overly broad and unconstitutional? It says.
What's the style of the case and the date on it?
I've brought a copy for you. It's my appeal. It's from juvenile court, and it addresses this, and it talks about the restriction on the speech. It's prior restraints, unconstitutional prior restraints.
Please don't try to out-talk me. I'm trying to make a point here. I believe I was asking for the name of the case, and if it's your case, I was asking for the date. I believe I am familiar with it. We review Court of Appeals cases, so I'm always interested in what our Court of Appeals and Supreme Court has to say, and the court will do the best it can to apply the law. I'll let you go on. Ask this witness any questions you're going to ask him, and we'll be through.
Okay, so you're not.
Right, Ms. Hubbell, I've told you to ask me any questions. I'm giving you every opportunity here, but if you will not go on and question your witness, the hearing will be over.
I'm looking to see. I had to get rid of a lot of my questions because I think you would not allow them. Okay, I think there's one more thing. Could you describe your emotional distress?
I'm fine. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't use any drugs. I exercise 3-4 times a week. I take my child to camp every week, and she's at camp right now.
Okay. The definition of harassment that I have in front of me, that's from State of Tennessee versus Nicole Flowers, September 8, 2016. It says harassment refers to conduct directed toward a victim that includes but is not limited to repeated or continuing unconsented contact that would cause a reasonable person to suffer emotional distress and that actually causes the victim to suffer emotional distress. And my question to you is, could you describe your emotional distress?
Objection, Your Honor. If she's asking if he's emotionally distressed related to the harassment, she needs to specify that. She just asked a general question about his emotions.
Well, Ms. Hubbell, hold on just a second. I think what you're saying is, based on these postings, did he consider them harassment? And if so, what was the impact on him? Is that
Yes.
a fair statement of what you're trying to ask?
Yes.
Do you understand the question?
Yes.
All right, she's saying, based on these postings, how have they affected you? What impact have they had on you?
Yes, I took my child, I believe, to the playground yesterday and the day before yesterday. It was all over her name and my name, my attorney's name.
All right, but now wait a minute. She's asked you about these
Social
postings,
media,
not
okay.
talk on the
Okay,
playground.
also I sometimes get worried that somebody's gonna knock on my door because she's telling them to contact me. She writes all things about me that is very negative, and I sometimes worry that some people believe this and take action against me. Yeah, that's the social impact. You isolated me, now you are isolating your child. Now I cannot take my child to that playground anymore. Her name is all over it. Her friends go there, her school friends go to play there.
How is she affected by that?
Her name is all over the playground.
How is she affected by
My
that?
name is on the playground. How is she's gonna affect it? I'm not a psychologist, but it's not a good way. She's gonna be isolated if you keep doing what you are doing.
Isolated from...
From her friends?
Objection irrelevant, John. He's answered the question about how he's doing.
Okay, what contact that I have directed towards you has caused you emotional distress?
Not directly, but all these social media postings definitely have an impact on me. Like when I meet my friends, I ask myself, do they read these things? Do they believe these things? Do they really think I'm a child abuse?
You need to say that again because you've got a little bit of an accent. It's hard for the court to understand.
Well, when I meet my friends, like I always in my head, do these people, because I'm from Turkey, she used to mingle with Turkish people, and I tell myself, do my friends or their wives are reading these things on social media, and what do they think? Do they really think I'm a child abuser? That's in my head when I meet people.
Have I made any false statements about you?
Well, you call me a child abuser. It can be interpreted in many ways. You might mean to say court-ordered child abuse. Somebody might think it is a totally different thing. You just say, he's a child abuser. There is a child abuser in your neighborhood.
And do you believe that Delora is being abused?
She's abused by you, man. You abused your child.
And how can that be when I haven't had any contact with her?
Objection to this line of questioning, Your Honor.
Well, he's answering the question. I'll allow her to ask another question in this line, and then we'll move on to something else. If you want to ask the question again as public as you can.
How has Delora been affected by the order of protection?
She did very well when she was under order of protection. She had perfect attendance. I brought her awards from school. She was in principal's list. She never missed school. She had like perfect attendance award.
Let me stop you. You changed your question, ma'am, and so the question that you just asked is irrelevant. How is she affected by the order of protection? That's not an issue. The issue today is, have you violated the order of protection?
So what conduct have I directed to you? I see that in the protection order you're asking for, have I attempted to contact you through text, email? Have I attempted to contact you at all in the past 2 years?
No, but you contacted my sister, and you mentioned that you want to contact my parents. I don't know if
Were they mentioned in the order of protection?
Well, it's just part of harassment, I think. It's just like you cannot call my sister and tell her that I'm abusing my child. They need to do something about it.
So nothing that has been, this is harassment refers to conduct directed toward a victim. You're calling yourself a victim. that causes you emotional distress. Emotional distress is defined as significant mental suffering.
All right, we kind of went over that a minute ago.
Okay.
We understand what it means, and he actually answered this question, how has it affected him? So he said your postings have created concern, he doesn't know what people will think about him, what people could do. I heard all of that, so we don't need to go over it again. If you have another question, I'll let you ask.
Is there any way for your friends to know that besides me making public statements about bring Delora home, is there, am I the only way that, or my Facebook post or whatever, are they the only way you would be feeling harassed? Are you feeling only harassed through my words, or are you harassed because of wanting me out of my daughter's life?
Objection to compound and confusing questions.
I'll have to sustain the objection. Ms. Hubbell, turn that into a question, even if it's a series of questions, but each question has to be understandable. When you hook them together like that, it's hard to understand what the question is. So most lawyers try to ask relatively short, simple questions that all build on the preceding question. I'm leaving it up to you as you're representing yourself, but the question was confusing. I wasn't sure I would understand how to answer it either.
Or do you feel harassed because I am pursuing a relationship with Delora,
Now, who is Delora?
my daughter?
Okay.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Do you feel harassed because I want to be in Delora's life?
Objection to relevance. Just because he feels harassed about a whole bunch of other things, we're here whether he feels harassed about how she's violated his order of protection.
Well, I don't think he's testified that he considers your efforts to have a relationship with your daughter to be harassment. So it's really, I mean, I'm not considering the fact that you want to have a relationship as any basis to extend the order of protection. We're really dealing with just these posts, as I understand it.
Well, my concern is that he's not being motivated by his malicious abusive process. I know that, and I would hope that you wouldn't.
We're not here arguing malicious abuse of process because the statute provides that you can ask for 5-year order of protection if there's been a previous violation. The fact is, ma'am, if none of this, if after the order was granted, if you'd simply left them alone for 1 year, it would have expired. It would have been over with. But the court found that you didn't do that and extended it for another year, and now they're asking to extend it again. So,
well, I did have no contact with him. He was.
I understand, but the order of protection was specific, and it said you weren't to harass him and you weren't to use his name on social media. So, go on, please, Ms. Hubbell.
Have you sought any professional mental help to help you deal with your emotional distress?
Objection to relevance.
I'd like to have some verification of the severity.
I'll allow the question. Do you understand the question?
Yes.
All right. Have you sought any professional counseling as a result of your upset over what you perceive to be her postings and harassment?
Due to cost, I couldn't do that, but I use other alternative things like meditation. I meditate twice a day. Also, I exercise. I go to gym 3-4 times. I swim. I play soccer, and that's how I try to deal with and I eat healthy, mostly vegetarian diet.
But you're saying that despite all of that, you are suffering significant mental suffering or distress because of my postings on, especially in private groups that you don't even have access to.
Objection argumentative and compound.
Sorry.
Well, you're starting to compound
Sorry.
it. Just go with your postings, which they are what they are. So leave off that last part, and I think that's a valid question. She's asked you, are you saying you have significant upset and distress as a result of her postings? I think that's her question.
Yes, it stresses me a lot.
And do you feel that my postings are conduct directed towards you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I think I have no further questions. I think I'd just like to give my own defense.
All right, thank you. I'll let you have a seat.
Just a few very brief thoughts.
No, you don't have any other questions. Go ahead and have a seat, please. I'll let you have a seat up here, Ms. Hubbell. The court's heard the proof in this matter. The circumstance, I mean, these cases involving custody are always upsetting and difficult, and the court tries to see it from both sides. But in this particular case, the order of protection is clear. It first of all says that this lady is not to refer to Mr. Is he Gild or Goddard?
Gadir.
Gadir, I'm sorry, it's neither one of those. Mr. Gadir in social media. Exhibits 1 and 2, which were posted after the court last extended the order of protection, specifically use his name. In addition, the postings reflect her child's name, referring to her child's father. They do say some things that are inappropriate about him, that he is an abuser. As the court understood one of these postings, that he had apparently inappropriately gotten the child's, as I understand it, Social Security benefit. And so these things are upsetting, and the court does consider them harassment. So based on the exhibits presented to the court today, the testimony of Ms. Hubbell that she is the one responsible for posting these, and her confirmation of the dates that these were posted in 2016 on the dates listed, on or about the dates listed on the exhibit, the court finds that there has, by preponderance of the evidence, been a violation of the order of protection. The court is going to extend it for 5 years. The court feels that it does need to modify the order of protection. And Ms. Hubbell, I'm asking you, I understand that you love your daughter, and you're supposed to, and that's a good thing. But I'm concerned that your actions are creating further problems for you. But I do not want you, I'm going to order that in addition to using the father's name on social media, that you will not refer, I can't find anything wrong with you posting things about your daughter on social media, but when you're referring to her dad, you're clearly referring to this gentleman. So I don't want you to make any references, direct or indirect, about the petitioner in this cause, and that includes using your daughter's name and referring to your child's dad. So as far as I'm concerned, even where you don't specifically use his name, these are harassing because many of these are derogatory. In addition to that, you're encouraging other people to harass him. So I'm going to order that you not make any further effort to have anyone else harass the petitioner in this cause. So any direct or indirect references to the petitioner or the use of his name or asking other individuals to harass him or encouraging other individuals to harass him. Counsel, if you'll prepare an appropriate order, that'll be the judgment of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.